A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. In a significant development in the ongoing Israeli-Palestinian conflict, the Israeli government has announced a temporary extension of the ceasefire in Gaza for the next 6 weeks. This extension, which coincides with the holy periods of Ramadan for Muslims and Passover for Jews, was confirmed by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office shortly after the initial ceasefire agreement expired at midnight on Saturday. The ceasefire extension is part of a proposal put forth by U.S. President Donald Trump's envoy to the Middle East, Steve Witkoff. The proposal outlines that on the first day of the ceasefire extension, half of the hostages currently held by Hamas in Gaza, both alive and deceased, will be released. The remaining hostages are set to be freed contingent upon the successful negotiation of a permanent ceasefire. Despite the announcement, Hamas has yet to publicly respond to the latest developments regarding the ceasefire extension. The decision to extend the ceasefire came after a 4-hour meeting convened by Netanyahu, who stated that Hamas has thus far rejected the Witkoff plan. He emphasized that Israel is prepared to engage in negotiations immediately if Hamas changes its stance. The ceasefire extension proposal also stipulates that Israel could resume military operations after 42 days if it deems that negotiations on a second phase have failed. Just prior to the announcement, Hamas expressed its refusal to agree to any extension of the first phase without assurances from American, Qatari, and Egyptian mediators that the second phase would indeed take place. The group appears to be committed to maintaining its influence in Gaza, potentially allowing other Palestinian entities, such as the Palestinian Authority in the West Bank, to take over day-to-day governance. The first phase of the ceasefire, which began on January 19th, effectively halted 15 months of intense conflict between Hamas and the Israeli military. It facilitated the release of 33 Israeli hostages and 5 Thai nationals in exchange for approximately 1,900 Palestinian prisoners and detainees. However, negotiations surrounding the second phase, which would involve the release of all remaining living hostages and the withdrawal of Israeli troops from Gaza, have made little progress. Reports indicate that 24 hostages are currently alive, while another 39 are presumed dead. The conflict escalated dramatically after Hamas launched an unprecedented attack on Israel on October 7, 2023. Resulting in approximately 1,200 Israeli fatalities and the abduction of 251 individuals. In retaliation, Israel initiated a comprehensive air and ground campaign in Gaza, which has resulted in significant casualties, with the Hamas-run health ministry reporting over 48,365 deaths. As discussions regarding the long-term future of Gaza remain stagnant, the United Nations has projected that rebuilding efforts could take decades. In the wake of the ceasefire extension announcement, tensions remain high, with both sides having previously accused each other of violating the fragile truce. The Israeli Prime Minister's office released a statement detailing that the initial day of the proposed ceasefire extension would see the release of half of the hostages and the bodies of deceased individuals. Should a permanent ceasefire agreement be reached, the remaining hostages and bodies would also be released. The statement further elaborated that Witkoff had suggested the ceasefire extension after recognizing that the current positions of both parties were irreconcilable, necessitating additional time for negotiations. It was also noted that Israel's potential return to military action after the 42nd day was supported by the Trump administration. Disagreements have surfaced regarding the transition to Phase 2 of the ceasefire, with some Palestinian officials indicating that Israel is reluctant to move forward with negotiations. Instead, Israel has proposed an extension of the first phase, contingent on the release of hostages and bodies for each week of the extension. Hamas, however, has rejected this proposal, insisting on adherence to the original agreement and a shift into the second phase as previously outlined. As the situation continues to develop, the international community remains watchful, with hopes for a lasting resolution to the conflict. The complexities of the ceasefire negotiations highlight the challenges faced in achieving a sustainable peace in the region, as both sides grapple with the realities of war and the humanitarian crises that ensue. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.